The number 1 trainer card is one of the rarest Pokemon cards in the world, but you can only get it by winning the Pokemon World Championships. That's why back in April I flew to London in an attempt to qualify for Worlds, but I failed. Which meant I had to fly to Italy to keep my Pokemon World Championship dream alive. It's currently 6:15 AM here in Rome, Italy. I'm on my way to take a train to play Pokemon. I am very serious about this season. Well, as serious as a first year player can be, but a few steps short of world-class players. Players who outright win tournaments. Players I can't even dream of beating. Players that I will definitely not meet in Lazio, Italy.
Hi, I'm Brent Thomason. I don't know what I say.
After choking at EUIC, I've got no choice but to win. Brent doesn't need this. I need this more than he does. This is the story of the Lazio League Cup.
And it's a cup. It's not that big of a deal.
Yet we're on this train. Brent's acting coy, but deep down, he's got his reasons for wanting to win this.
Some people really need the points for their invite.
That's people like me. I've got just 2 months left to earn 100 championship points, and winning this cup means plus 50.
I would like the points just for possibly getting a travel.
And that's why Brent's here, because if he wins, he'll maintain top 4 in the Oceania region and get paid $3,500 by Pokemon to fly to the next international championship. So he's trying to get in my head.
How are you feeling?
I've learned to stop stressing about the event.
It's come to acceptance that Worlds might not happen.
It's not automatic entry. It's not meant to be easy.
But when you think about it, this is one of the least effort League Cups for me to get to.
But what exactly is a League Cup?
League Cups are like an avenue for players to get championship points for their Worlds invite, maybe the last bit of points that they need.
League Cups are smaller than ICs and regionals, and aside from tryhards like us, they usually have a pretty relaxed vibe.
Technically, there are League Cups all around the world every week.
So you don't have to travel far, unless they're in the middle of nowhere.
How did you get there, Brent?
I walked around that.
No, you did. We doing this? That's unhinged. All for a League Cup.
Dude, no, you're like, I broke the law. I fled the country and broke the law.
Just to go plus 50.
Mission 1, make it to Viterbo safely, complete. The next objective, work out where the heck this place is.
I thought we came to play Pokemon. Bro, it's obviously over here.
Apparently it's directly
Bro,
right.
what?
We're completely fenced in. No, wait, we got an out.
In Pokemon, you always have an out.
You always play your out.
Your out is the broken fence in the car park in Viterbo.
Your outs are also the only viable plays you can make in a game that can lead you to victory. Like playing boss to stall a turn, hoping your opponent doesn't have an answer, buying you time to draw into a better card.
It can't be anywhere else. This is the only place that it can be. Look, I do things for content, but this is too far. I'm getting kind of nervous now. Is this an elaborate scheme? I don't have my Japanese Pokemon cards with me, bro. I've got no money on me, bro. Oh, let's go. Let's go. We're here. We made it. Damn it. We made it. We're here.
Mission 2, actually find the store, complete. Meaning it was time for Mission 3, win the League Cup.
By the way.
With a turnout of just 16 players, a far cry from the 1500 at EUIC, Brent's saying I'll need to win just 3 of the next 5 to make it into the top 4. And luckily, round 1 was against Hisuian Lugia VSTAR, a deck I'd played multiple times at EUIC, meaning I knew exactly how to take it down. You see, the strength of this deck lies within Lugia VSTAR and its ability Moisture Star, which lets it heal itself. So their game plan is to play down 2 Lugia VSTAR and heal whichever one gets damaged, while taking KOs themselves. Because attacking with Rolling Iron activates an effect which reduces your opponent's attack by 80. Now, I was playing my Lost Zone deck, and one of the main attackers here is Radiant Greninja. And so the strategy is to build cards in your Lost Zone using Comfy's ability Flower Selecting. Draw 2 cards and discard 1 to the Lost Zone, together with Colress's Experiment. Draw 5 cards and send 2 to the Lost Zone, so that you can then use the item Mirage Gate to accelerate energy to Greninja and attack with Moonlight Shuriken, hitting 2 Pokemon at once. This way, the damage is spread, and this is a concept sometimes referred to as having multiple lines, essentially multiple paths to victory that can win you the game. They force your opponent to have an answer, making it harder for them to win. So while the active Gudra was out of range because of Rolling Iron, the one on the bench was still fair game, meaning with Boss's Orders and Dragonite V, I was able to take a KO to close out the game.
I'm 1-0-0. I was playing against a Gudra, and I really don't like playing against Gudra. Brent, how you going?
Losing.
You're not losing. You are 1-0-0. I know for a fact you're not losing. Unlike Brent, I'm not complaining about my dub. Look at him. Smile, Brent. Smile. Smile.
Can I take that?
No, that's my deck.
Why is it on the ground? You leave it on the ground. It's filthy, bro.
Don't step on it. Alright, we're gonna go back in for round 2.
Which saw me facing off against a Lost Zone variant featuring Radiant Charizard, who, despite being worth a lot of money, is also a very powerful card in the game. And my opponent was playing a deck known as Sablezard. Now this deck relies on Radiant Charizard as its heavy hitter due to the whopping 250 damage it can deal out. But that damage comes at a cost of 5 energy. It's already hard enough to find 1 Mirage Gate, let alone 2 plus an energy attach from hand? At first glance, this attack seems like a pipe dream until you read the ability, which states that the attack costs 1 less energy for each prize card your opponent has taken. This makes Radiant Charizard a swing attacker. You keep him hidden early, and then you bring him out late game to clean up the VMAX and V-Star Pokemon for the 3 and 2 prize liabilities that they are, which isn't a problem for my deck. As long as I don't play down my V Pokemon, I should win this game, and that's what I did in Game 1. The only problem? In Game 2, I played down the Manaphy. You see in the issue here? Which Pokemon was going to attack my bench, considering you can only play 1 Radiant Pokemon per deck? And I knew they weren't playing Radiant Greninja, because they were playing Charizard. And that was clear because I saw the fire energy in the previous game. Yeah, this one ended up as a tie, and it should have been a win, but it wasn't an issue, because all I had to do was keep winning from here. So naturally, I paired into Lugia, one of the worst matchups for Lost Zone deck. That's because Lugia is able to power up a variety of attackers thanks to Archeops. But for that to happen, you need to get the Archeops into the discard pile. To do that, you need to play cards like Ultra Ball or Professor's Burnett, and then evolve into Lugia VSTAR and use its ability Summoning Star, bringing those discarded Archeops back onto the bench so that they can use their ability Primal Turbo to attach up to 2 special energy from your deck to any Pokemon in any way you like. If that sounds broken, it's because it is, but Lugia has a flaw. Its setup is dependent on chance more than any other deck in the game. Coin flips with Capturing Aroma. If tails, search your deck for a basic. If heads, search for an evolution. And whether your starting hand even has Archeops or Ultra Balls in it. If it doesn't, the deck just simply doesn't function. And that's what happened to my round 3 opponent, thankfully. In the first game, I was able to KO their only Lugia V with my Raikou V. And with no second Lugia V in play, they stood no chance at getting set up and attacking. So it was on to Game 2, where we both started slow this time. I barely managed to get 7 cards in the Lost Zone by turn 3. But again, my opponent was struggling to set up those Archeops, having to settle for just 1 instead of the usual 2. And so from here, the game was pretty straightforward. I KO'd their Lugia V-Star with my Raikou, which was then KO'd by their Tyranitar V, which I then KO'd with my Dragonite V. And with no way for them to respond, that sealed the game, giving me the round 3 win and a 2-0-1 record into round 4. My first ever stream game. And yeah, this might not have been streamed to 1,000, but it was still awesome to have it on display all the way from Jokeris in Italy. And let me tell you, this round was wild, because game 1 was over before it even started. When I say people scoop if their starting hand is bad, I mean it. And when my opponent drew, they knew that this game was going absolutely nowhere, so they scooped and went straight to game 2, which bode especially well for the both of us, because Lost Zone Mirrors can take a long time to complete. We had over 45 minutes to play out 2 games. And considering in this game they started Sableye with an energy attach and pass, everything was looking up for JLUV, because all I had to do here was get 4 cards in the Lost Zone, find a Cramorant, and KO his lone Sableye. So, I did what I could. I played down a Comfey. I switched into it. I flower selected. I found a Colress, which gave me a Manaphy, and a Nest Ball. Everything was looking perfect. I used the Nest Ball to get a Greninja, so I could see 2 more cards, but the Battle VIP pass never came. And I was forced to just settle for 3 in the Lost Zone, which, all things considered, could have been worse. Because again, my opponent had a terrible hand, settling for just a Sableye scratch attack. But then, I didn't find a Colress or a Cramorant, and I was forced to pass for turn yet again. And that gave my opponent the time to establish board state and take the first KO themselves. And through repeated use of Clara to retrieve their Manaphy, they took game 2, meaning I had to win it all in game 3. And this was a nail biter, all but a little bit awkward, because neither of us could really get going. Taking a Cram KO here and there, racing to get 10 in the Lost Zone so they could use Sableye, until my opponent had to make a very peculiar play to protect their sole Manaphy. They played down a Galarian Moltres, put it into the active, and passed for turn. And this gave me the time I needed to get my Sableye and wreak havoc. If he wanted to win from here, he had to return fire, and return fire he did, launching into a Holucha play together with Sableye to take 2 prizes. But this was a critical misplay, because that play meant there was no space on his board to put down a Manaphy, and that opened up the Radiant Greninja line for me to close out game 3. See, at this point, we were into time, so all I had to do from here was set up a Radiant Greninja play, take 2 prizes, and have a Sableye down so that on turn 3, I could take the last prize I needed to close out the round. And so that's what I did. I grabbed the second Sableye with Nest Ball. I played down Clara so I could retrieve my own Manaphy and protect myself. I attached an energy to the Greninja. I played down Mirage Gate so I could power up the Sableye and the Radiant Greninja, and I took 2 KOs with an attacker on board for my last turn. And my opponent, credit to him, the good sport that he was, knew at this point there was no way he could win, and the game was mine for the taking, meaning I was heading into round 5 with a 3-0-1 record, one of the best records of the day, matched only by one other, my round 5 opponent. But this was a good thing because we had the opportunity to lock up a top 4 finish almost immediately. See, with our strong first and second seeding, and this being the last round of the day, we agreed to intentionally draw ID, putting us both at a 3-0-2 record and progressing straight into the semi-finals. But I couldn't say the same for Brent just yet.
Brent, what happened? What just happened in there?
Dude, I got clapped twice. I'm 3-1-1. I should be cut.
Brent reckons it's clean, so we're gaming. All I know is top 4, win the next one, final, win the next one, win the cup, get the mat, get the box, go home.
Bro, the points.
Oh, and the points, yeah, the points. And then the trip is not a failure.
Maybe I shouldn't have spoken so soon, because after all that, Brent and I paired. This was the worst possible outcome of the day. Right when the plus 50 points I needed so desperately were right in front of me, appeared a massive wall that I felt like I had no chance of climbing.
Is this what it comes down to, Brent?
Maybe.
Is this, after all this? After all this, bro, the narrative. The narrative.
If you beat me, the narrative.
The narrative, bro. 2 Aussie players go to Lazio, make cut, semi-final. Bro, the narrative.
We were both playing the same 60 card deck, dueling as best we could, reading each other's plays almost telegraphically. After all, we'd played this match over and over again. And after taking 1 game each, at the start of game 3, something incredible happened.
I'm in the toilet and I just beat Brent. And I'm not gloating. Brent, if you're watching this, I'm sorry it came to that. But yeah, 2-1, golden prize at the end. I had cramp basically with the beach court vacuum. Yeah, I had too comfy on board and it just golden prize, so just took it. Final of the Lazio Cup. Brent, I'm sorry. I just don't want this to be a gloat. I couldn't have asked for a better competitor and a friend that I've made through this game. So Brent, I love you, even though you hate me right now. I love you, bro, all right? Going into the final.
This was it. After everything we'd been through, the 2-hour train ride, getting lost in a city that we'd never been to, a long day of gaming, and a fateful clash against a player I never thought I could beat, it was time for the finals against one of Italy's strongest players, Christian Donaforio, who just recently finished top 16 at a European tournament. But ranking and placement, it didn't matter to me anymore, because if I could beat Brent, I could beat anybody, even if they were playing a deck that completely shuts down mine, like Gardevoir and Klefki. Yep, those little keys are more than meets the eye because of their ability Mischievous Lock, which prevents any basic Pokemon from using its abilities as long as Klefki remains in the active. So cards like Comfey, Cramorant, Radiant Greninja, all completely nullified, slowing down your build-up of Lost Zone cards without the use of Colress, Forest Seal Zone, Lost Vacuum. Essentially, drawing out of it, a task way easier said than done, and building up energy attachment had to be done manually, a pace that was way too slow for a final. But if you know me by now, you know that when it looks most hopeless, when it looks most grim, when it looks like I have absolutely no business of finishing this stuff, I just find a way. And so that's what I did. If I didn't have the card I needed, I just went and grabbed it with a Forest Seal Stone. And when I was done with the stone, I Lost Vacuumed it away. And if I needed a Colress, I just drew into it. And by turn 1, I'd built up 6 in the Lost Zone, an incredible position, meaning I was able to easily KO Curlier and Klefki with Moonlight Shuriken and set up a Sableye on board for the next turn. I literally just kept drawing out of it, and there was nothing that Christian could do. This was a Gardevoir EX deck, but we didn't even see a single Psychic Embrace once. And after a debilitating game 1 and 2, Christian called it in, making me the champion of the Lazio League Cup.
Get me there. Get the turbo port up here in the background. We did it. We won the cup. We actually got the cup.
Plus 50.
Plus 50.
And so here we are. Tomorrow's the day of the big tournament, Worlds in Yokohama, Japan. You know, I used to think Worlds was the only thing that mattered when it came to playing Pokemon. But I've come to realize it's the journey. You know, it's the individual tournaments along the way. It's the matches, the games, the rounds, the experiences that shape you and turn you into the Pokemon trainer and player that you are. So I know that no matter what happens tomorrow, win or lose, I'm gonna have one of the most incredible days of my life with some of the best friends I've made over the last year. And I can't wait to show you guys all of it.